So I think meditation is one task which saves you time. Now you should look at it cinematically. For example, the old age home, the children's home, the mental health center. These are all not on the priority list for anybody. You are the mighty district collector and you actually can't do anything other than writing letters. No publicity, no drama, nothing. I think most of us are disproportionately fortunate. So with a lot of self-respect, dignity, we can take care of our brethren. So it's very Indian, it's very unique to Bharatvarsha that you have this concept of Dharma. It's a Sanskrit word.
Welcome to KanhaCast, the podcast from Kanha Shantivanam, the International Centre for Heartfulness. Today I'm speaking to Prasanth Nair, an officer of the Indian Administrative Services who is widely known for his innovative and citizen-centric approach to governance. Affectionately known as Collector Bro after his tenure as District Collector of Kozhikode, he has earned widespread acclaim for initiatives like Compassionate Kozhikode and Operation Soleimani, which tackled poverty, hunger and urban challenges. He is a multifaceted individual with a passion for cinema.
Thank you so much, Prashantji. Thank you for taking the time out and coming and talking to us. This is your first visit to Kanha Shantivanam.
Yes.
So, what are your first impressions?
I came here with an open mind. In fact, when I was traveling to Shantivanam, I was asked, what do you want to see? What are you interested in? There are lots of aspects here. It's a huge campus. So what I said was, I come with a blank slate. I want to see, I come to learn. And I think it's been a very fascinating experience for me. I can see ecology, I can see nature, I can see the convergence of it's mankind, it's human mind, it's human effort, but at the same time you can see it converging and resulting in regeneration of nature. And to think of it that it all originates from meditation, that's beautiful. In fact, I think everything is in the mind. I keep saying that. And I think meditation is one major tool that is underrated. We are yet to clearly understand the power of meditation. Because with meditation, you get your mind, your efforts, your direction, the purpose, everything just falls in place and you start getting beautiful results that aligns with the nature. I think that result totally getting aligned with the nature is the beauty of the campus that I saw here. Fascinating. That's all I see.
And you just mentioned that everything originates from meditation in this campus. That's the primary reason for this campus to exist, is actually the meditation. So personally for you, has meditation been a part of your life as well?
Absolutely. I think all of us, all human beings have been programmed to meditate. It's just that we don't realize it. In some way or the other, we are all supposed to have that awareness, self-awareness, at least to spend a few moments with yourself and then trying to realize, because there could be various ways of meditation, various methods of meditation.
Sure.
We can't say that one path is right or other is
Absolutely
wrong or anything like that. But to meditate, do we find time for that? Do we take effort? I mean, it's actually effortless, but even then, I think there is a disconnect in this world right now, which is the core issue, which is the issue that is driving most of the problems around us. I've been fortunate to have been brought up in a culture, an environment, an ecosystem where the importance of meditation has been taught to me. I've been exposed to it in some way or the other. In fact, I have tried various kinds of meditation over time. Just so happened. It's not that I rate any method differently or anything. I don't know. I'm still a novice. I still try to learn and understand. But I've got something from every path that I've tried, because being aware of yourself and that mindfulness aspect is very underrated. Once you start tasting it, It's like, it's so sweet. It's so sweet that you can't just let go of it. It could be when you travel, it could be on flight, it could be anywhere. But to indulge in that practice of mindfulness, that has made a lot of difference in my life. To stay calm, to stay composed, to activate your thought process towards purposeful directions, to bring results, to make difference in others' lives, in own life, and be more compassionate. I think once you start realizing the beauty of meditation, it makes you a better human being at the end of the day. I've been fortunate and really thankful to God Almighty that I've been given that exposure, and I'm even more happy that I am here today, because I didn't know. I told you I came with a blank slate. I purposefully did not read up anything, because I was recommended very strongly by a close friend of mine who works in the UN that I should come and see this place. Beyond that, I didn't ask anything because he knows me very well. So his assumption, his judgment was that you are going to love this place. You just go there. And I didn't ask much. And I didn't read up much. I was sent a small video, which was the only thing on the way while I was traveling here. I just watched that video. That was only exposure or preconceived notion I had. And I think it has done justice. And I'm so happy I was able to come here today and see the power, to see the manifestation of this power of meditation. Individually I can sense it. Individually, I'm sure many people would have experienced it. But to see that collective action, how people coming together and meditating, and the meditation hall, that huge hall where more than 1 lakh individuals could collectively sit and meditate, the power of collective thought and intention. I think that is manifested here. You see, whatever you see around here, there is that divinity exuberating. You can actually sense it. And nature is giving it. Nature is actually expressing it. The trees, the flowers, the flora, fauna, that rainforest. It's like amazing.
Yeah. And to think and that it's come up in 6 years is really something,
Fascinating.
And it's really is something that all of us marvel at also, even though we are here. And I'd like to ask you, a lot of people don't meditate because they say they don't have the time. It's very busy. Time comes there. But nobody could be busier than you. You're in the administrative service, and we know how much work that entails. So how do you find time for yourself?
I think meditation is one task which saves you time. If I don't meditate and I start doing my task, taking up the task, something that can take 4 or 5 hours, if I meditate, I might finish it in half an hour. Because your mind is in order, your senses are under control, your intentions are clear, that purposiveness is there. You know where you are going. It's like the story of Arjuna, when you see the target very clearly. That clarity of thought comes in if you meditate. So if you are really busy, you really need to meditate. If you are not able to manage time, you definitely have to meditate. If you don't have time to meditate, you definitely have to meditate.
Yeah, there's some anecdote about somebody saying, I only have 10 minutes to meditate. So then the teacher says, then you should meditate for an hour.
Yeah.
So your job, of course, is it takes you, it's a lot of stress. You have to deal with people, you have to deal with government, you have to deal with the whole machinery. Do you find that it's become easier through meditation to handle all that stress also? Because stress is something that is a buzzword these days, and a lot of people are, stress-related illnesses are apparently, studies say, account for 40% of illnesses around the world.
Yeah.
So
Seriously.
do you think it's helpful in handling stress?
Definitely. In fact, after a while, after taking up meditation and observing your thoughts and trying to see your breath, you become really aware. After a while, even the slightest change in your breath, it is the best indicator. That's what I have found. The best indicator whether you're getting agitated, whether you're getting upset. You get it here, actually. Your breath really says that. But something that I always keep telling is this breath is something very beautiful because you can control it voluntarily. At the same time, it can be controlled involuntarily by your stem, brain stem as well.
Yes.
If you're agitated, it starts breathing fast. If you're calm, if you're sleeping, it gets automatically controlled. But at the same time, you can consciously control it as well. You can stop breathing. You can, make it slow, fast, whatever. So there's a dual control. So I say, if you have two spanners on the same screw, you move one spanner, the other spanner should also move, right?
Yeah.
So I control my breath and do a bit of meditation. The tension or whatever is there happening on the other side involuntarily, that also will be controlled. That's my experience. So to be honest, getting stressed, it's a long time since I got stressed. I'll honestly say I've been having a chill time, extremely happy, beautiful and contented time for past I don't know how many years. It was very rarely I think when my wife had some illness or son got some illness, if a few moments you get a bit of a worry. But I've nothing from the professional side actually. Nothing related to work, nothing else has ever bothered me for the last so many years. Because once you start observing breath, once you get into this meditative mood and all that, even if you're not able to meditate regularly, but at least you don't lose track or lose touch of that thing. I'd love to meditate daily, but even if you're not able to do that, it can be SOS as well.
Yeah, sure.
So, okay, there's an issue. Okay, let me meditate. So that also has worked for me. I think that has helped my health also. If you are tensed, if you are worried, the kind of cortisols that get released into your bloodstream. There's a beautiful study by I think Maryland University in early 2000s where they conducted a study on subjects exposed to a few Hollywood movies. Okay. So one set were shown movies that were kind of horror, bit of distressing type. And they observed that the blood vessels would constrict by 10 to 15%. At the same time, when they showed them very hilarious, happy kind of movies, it dilated. Now, this is happening in our body. If you stress yourself, it constricts. And that is how the stroke happens. That is how these attacks happen. And if you have cholesterol and other stuff inside it, and it constricts, obviously you're asking for trouble. So why do you want to trouble yourself over imaginary things? When you really start meditating, you see what is real and what is unreal. Half nahi. Actually, 99% of the things around you are imagined, cooked up. It really doesn't matter. Most of the things are human creations. It really doesn't matter.
We build narratives that are imaginary.
Yeah. If you actually after even 1 year, if you look back, you will find things to be very silly. You take 5 years and look back, it will be even sillier. So most things while meditating or before getting into that mood, I just imagine the problem, the issue or the SOS situation that has caused me to sit into meditation. How serious is this? After say 5 years, 10 years, sometimes it becomes hilarious. You actually laugh at it and then you get into a beautiful mode of meditation.
So where is the root of this approach that you have and this affinity for meditation? Childhood, growing up, were you exposed to spirituality? Did you have a very...
I think, I don't know exactly how it happened, but I remember as a kid, I used to sit and meditate. I would like,
wow,
I would imitate. You imagine that you are a sage or something, because you read this Amar Chitra Kathas and all these old stories and stuff. So you think that, I remember as a kid, there was tension between India and Pakistan, and there was some huge some stories going around the newspapers that they are going to bomb us or something. Small kid, you hardly had any idea what's happening, but you really thought that okay, they are going to bomb you. Now what to do? I have to pray. I remember sitting idle, like an idol, just like this, without moving. I was under. I shouldn't move. That's how Vishwamitra. That's how Durvasa. How they meditated. and you keep meditating, you pray to God, okay, even if he comes to bomb, let it not come down and all that stuff. It's funny when you look back. But I think these are things that get subconsciously injected into your bloodstream.
I know.
So at some point of time, you leave this childish thing and you start experiencing better things. And when you get into structured, guided meditation from gurus and people who have experience, or people who are into meditation, they give you certain tips. Then you actually start feeling the beauty and the sweetness of meditation. It's not about not moving. It's about something more. It's about keeping your mind still, or not the body. But of course, it starts from the body. There's a discipline related to the body as well. So gradually, I don't know when that point was there in my life when I thought this is it, or I don't know when that happened, but it just happened.
I know. Amarchand Katha had one issue I remember in which somebody was meditating and there would wines were going on.
I still remember wine. You had this ants coming up. You have this Valmiki in the Valmikam.
Yes.
All this imagery that creates and I remember you have to keep this kamandalu and also this danda on which you have to keep your hand like this. So you get something, I don't know, some small piece of wood and all that, and keep it in your hand as if you are a big sage.
It's pretty extraordinary, that there can be cultures that have these people as their heroes. You would think a comic book would have like a hero who's like bombing things, and somebody like Superman who has X-ray vision and this, that. But here we have comics that have these sages as the heroes.
Yeah,
so very interesting.
Like the images of sages pointing their hand upwards and stopping things, making things happen. That is also heroism. That's also magical. Every child wants to see magic.
Of course.
Some miracle. Our culture had these kind of heroes who had power in their intellect, or in their mind, or in their soul, whatever. So that was slightly different. It's not very physically manifest. It's not just muscles. It's not just wearing the cape and all that. It's very very homegrown kind of heroism.
And where did IAS, the aspiration for IAS, where did that start? That also was from the childhood or something that came later?
Childhood actually. I remember my mother, she is a doctor, so she was working in the government. So she went to meet the medical college principal. She was a professor in the medical college. So went to meet the principal for some administrative matter, promotion, transfer, I don't know what it was. I was a small kid, so I just went along. So I remember she was standing and talking to the principal, and the principal was so arrogant, not even looking up and looking into the file, and that arrogance is exuding.
Of course.
And as a kid, you get irritated with it. You get not irritated, you get upset. Why is this? I mean, he is not behaving well.
Not taking you seriously.
It's very rude, and you see that your mother is there standing and not even offering a seat. You feel something is wrong. Then we went to meet the director of medical education, who is higher. Same. In fact, a tinge higher arrogance, I'll say. And after this, in the evening, I still remember we went to the secretariat where we were waiting for somebody else who is much superior to them. And in the evening, it's 5:30 or something, and suddenly a bearded gentleman rushes in like a gush of wind, and we are ushered in. We go in, and this guy offers coffee and asks, "Doctor, what's the issue? What's the matter?" We don't know. I don't remember whether the issue was sorted or not. But the way he spoke, the humility, the courteousness, that was very obvious. Despite the fact that he was much more powerful, authoritative, and in a hierarchically in a better position than the earlier two people. So I was intrigued. As I got out of the room with my mother, I asked her, "Who is this guy?" Because I liked him. He treated us well, and whether the problem was solved or not, he behaved well, courteous. Then my mother told, "This is the government secretary. He's an IAS officer. Now you should look at it cinematically. Tan-ta-dang. In the corridor, we are walking out and I'm just looking back and I see the name and the end you have IAS. Okay, then you feel, this sounds good. I should be like him. So that was the point when I, for the first time, felt, okay, this is a good job. And in hindsight, I think I would have never excelled in any other job because this offers variety. This offers you the opportunity to shift departments, get into different domains, learn new things. I would have been an utter failure if I was in one profession throughout. In the sense, if I were not a generalist, if I was a doctor, maybe, I mean, you treat different diseases, but ultimately you're treating diseases. That is the core job. Or if you're coding, or if you're programming, your life is centered around that. Here you have a lot of scope for creativity. There's a lot of scope for finding solutions. Problems are there every day. There's a challenge, and the domain keeps changing as well. So there's not a moment to get bored. So it keeps me alive.
Absolutely, absolutely. And your IAS career has been noted for the projects that you've done, especially Compassionate Kozhikode and Operation Suleimani. How did the inspiration for those come about?
Necessity. There was no way.
You saw the need.
There was no other way. I mean, there was no solution. These were issues which were staring at me. I joined as the district collector in Kozhikode. So when you're in the field, the public, they come to the collector. When nobody else is there, they come to the collector actually. So most of these issues, for example, the old age home, the children's home, the mental health center, these are all not on the priority list for anybody. Unfortunately, that's the unfortunate truth. Even for the government, the allocations go down for these institutions, whereas the allocations go up for roads, for highways, for metro. These are all,
and very glamour
projects. So everyone likes to lobby for it. There'll be lobbyists, there'll be people who also benefit out of it. If a road comes on the sides, the real estate property goes up. So there is a vested interest for people to push it. The contractor gets money, so he also has an interest to push it. But for these people, there's nobody to push, especially for mental health center. Just imagine, half of them would be dumped by their relatives. And most of them don't have the ability to even articulate their requirements. They don't have voting rights. They can't associate. They can't voice their demands. So it's actually quite dark.
Yeah, not completely.
Yeah, completely sidelined. So it was a very emotional moment for me when, as the district collector, I visited these institutions because the collector has a role, especially under the Mental Health Act and all. So it was humiliating for me because in my jurisdiction, I'm seeing this and I'm helpless. When I ask the hospital superintendent what are the requirements, you tell me, I'm going to get it done. You're the new collector. Obviously, you think that you can do it like that. The hospital superintendent, he gave me a list of requirements. Actually, a copy of the letter that was sent earlier by the earlier collector. Copy de diya. So when I see the copy, the subtle message that he conveys is that this has been going on for quite some time. Your predecessors have also written and asked for support and all that, but nothing has come out of it. So don't expect much. So I was carrying this copy of the letter, and in the evening, it's after office that I went to the hospital, and then I'm going home to my residence. This is in my hand. And I was actually feeling ashamed of myself. You are the mighty district collector, and you actually can't do anything other than writing letters and waiting for some fund allocation. Every day counts. If in your life, if your quality of life is going down, you try to make it better. You want to change it. Now, these people, 800 plus inmates of the mental health center in a facility which can house only 400 and something. And a lot of them have been treated actually. There's no place to go. So they are still stuck there. And many of them are mentally retarded cases, not ill. So they are not supposed to be housed in such a facility. So it's fairly complex, and the basic facilities like even food. The food menu was not changed since 1975 or so.
Wow!
And the food menu was primarily, wheat gruel, most tasteless thing, and it's not something that you usually eat in Kerala. Yeah. So I mean, if you eat wheat gruel continuously, you might actually lose your senses, and you're forcing them to eat. They don't have food choice, right?
Not a nutrition.
Even in a jail, you have better food. In the mental health center, this is the situation. So when I got home, I had my food, and then just before, just immediately after that, what I did was, we had just launched the official Facebook page and all that. So I actually put this up, the requirement list, and I requested the public, I don't want money. I just want these requirements. It could be bucket, it was food, it was volunteers.
Practical requirements.
Practical requirements, clothes, bed spreads, and all those things. And I told why I want that. I don't have time. If you are able to bring this at least one day earlier, you are improving the quality of life of that person by one day. The more I delay, the more I write to the government and wait for it. I don't know how many of them will be even alive by the time these things arrive. So it was a fairly emotional thing that came from within, and the beauty was that within 1 week I got everything.
Wow.
So small amount, it was things worth like 7-8 lakhs only, but the entire thing came, and it was an eye-opener for me. And that's how this Compassionate Kozhikode project was conceived. You could actually reach out to the public, and with credibility, without touching money, without getting into any of the unwanted thing. I'll just focus on diagnosis of the requirements. I place it up to the public and let them do it. I just facilitate it. Zero transmission loss. So this was the concept of Compassionate Kozhikode. And similarly, that Operation Sulaimani was also basically a food coupon system. In all these projects, what we try to do was to take care of the dignity of the receiver. So not a single photograph would be taken, no publicity, no drama, nothing. Make it happen. That's all. And we just stand by the side. It's like brothers helping each other, brothers and sisters. So that's it. So this concept, while going through this project, it has transformed me also, because it has opened my eyes to a lot of things which I never knew. And it has made me a much more compassionate person. When you get exposure, you know things. You actually, I lost count of the times when I actually broke down into tears. My team, we used to, it was like a routine. But it was fun. The team was vibrant, and I think we could touch the lives of many people. But at the end of the day, they were not benefiting. Actually, we were benefiting. While indulging in an act of compassion, you are actually changing the life of one person, which is you yourself. So this was what we used to tell the interns and volunteers who used to join us also. Boss, we are giving you an opportunity to change your own life. So we are not charging you for that. Be thankful for that. You are being allowed to volunteer. So that's how that project happened. And the good thing is that we are now scaling it up to Compassionate India at a national level, where we hope to reach out to every district, every institution of this kind, and adopt the same principles. No drama, no photography, no celebration of poverty. We need dignity, Atmabhiman, Atma Samman, and then Atmanirbharta, because India has enough actually. India has enough resources. We have really rich people, billionaires and millionaires are coming up, and they are willing to help also. There is a lot of heart. There is heartfulness. There's lots and lots of people who are willing to share their fortunes, because I think most of us are disproportionately fortunate.
Absolutely.
Because we have not done anything to get these fortunes. So just to connect the excessively fortunate people with people who are kind of in material need. Not just material, it could even be services. It could be teaching. For instance, in the children's home, we used to get volunteers to teach, take extra sessions for kids, sponsor education. And all these things we could do under the umbrella of Compassionate Kozhikode, which we hope to really scale up as well. And I think all of that, in a way, originates from being mindful, being able to look at yourself, observe yourself, and in a way, meditate.
It's fantastic. It's such a beautiful thing. And it echoes so well with Heartfulness, actually, because even in Heartfulness, we have volunteer trainers. And when you are asked for a training session, you are getting that opportunity. So you thank the person who's asked you for the session, because you've got that opportunity to give a person a session.
Absolutely.
And it's so heartening to see that this initiative was able to go through, and now you're scaling it all the way to an all India level. And we hope this reaches all corners of India and the globe, actually, because the way humanity, the 1% of wealthy humanity treats the rest, we were just discussing this afternoon, that it's such a shame, no, that we still have starvation, poverty.
And we don't actually need to depend on anyone external, because India is sufficient. We are right now, we are in a position where we can take care of ourselves. So with a lot of self-respect, dignity, we can take care of our brethren. And now you have got technology that will enable us. So when the scaling up is happening, we are extensively using AI, we are using automation, we are using technology to the extent that transparency is ensured, and there is again zero transmission loss.
Yes.
If you want to contribute to somebody, to the wellness of somebody, it should go direct there. There should not be any transmission loss. So that protocol is what Compassionate India is seeking to create. And today in the campus, while I was going around and also seeing the meditation structure, how it's being done, the concepts and all that, I was just discussing on integrating meditation into our interns and our volunteer structure, their training, induction and all that, because I think getting them exposed to meditation and making them aware of themselves and making them thoughtful, making them sensitive would essentially make them more compassionate. They'll become more active and better volunteers for Compassionate India. So in fact, I'm really looking forward to tying up. In fact, we just discussed a while back on getting a few meditation modules included in the structure. So only then will I think that it was godsend, it was a fate that I had to come here today, because otherwise I wouldn't have thought of this. I think all the volunteers, all the interns who get into Compassionate India should start off with meditation.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's such a wonderful thought. You mentioned technology, AI, and of course, social media. Now, they're both sides of technology. People criticize them also, but there are advantages. You used it to the advantage. How do you think we can avoid the negative side of technology?
Yeah, I think we should flood so much of goodness that there is no space for bad things, right? The same thing that applies to any other area. You spread more good news, you don't get time to read the bad news. Similarly, I think technology also has to be used so much. The good guys should adopt technology. Unless well-meaning people adopt technology, how will it come into the domain? See, if you have a knife and you leave the knife, you don't do surgery, the doctor doesn't do surgery, only a butcher will take it or a thief will take it.
Sure.
Because the tool is there. It has been invented. You can't stop technology. It's up to us to use it. You think of the possibilities. There are hundreds of requirement use cases staring at us. And there are competent people who are capable of taking it up and creating solutions. Right now, we are in the process of discussing certain solutions for this aggregation of this charitable operations to set standards, gold standard actually. Because after this model comes, because the idea which we are trying to put forth is of Dharma, where and the Dharma is a word which doesn't have a proper translation.
Yeah,
it's a Sanskrit word, and the import, the meaning, the depth which Dharma has, it's not righteousness, it's not duty, it's not anything of that. It's something much beyond. It's like asking, see, I'm from Kerala, so if you ask a Malayali to give a word for ice, we actually don't have a word for ice, by the way.
Because you don't experience it.
Because we don't experience it. So you don't know. Whereas if you go to Iceland or Greenland, you have hundreds and hundreds of words for ice. Because subtle differences of ice is also recognized by them. They understand ice. Similarly, unless you have the concept, you don't have a word. So it's very Indian, it's very unique to Bharatvarsha that you have this concept of Dharma. It's a Sanskrit word. with huge import. Now, Dharma is a contextual correctness. It's a contextual right and wrong. Very unique. In this era of AI, where we discuss ethics of AI, and also in the context of administration or decision-making of any nature, where bias is an issue. In ethics, in AI also there is a bias issue, but the bias expressed by human beings is more dangerous. It's unfair. The system treats you unfairly because of people who go by hierarchy or ego or things that are associated with negativity. So to analyze these problems, you can use AI. That is where technology comes in. Now, AI is very impartial. AI doesn't recognize X and Y. You give the rule, you tell him this is the rule, it will implement it for you. So that takes away a big burden. It makes society, it makes lots of things fair. But you can't leave the whole thing to a machine.
Correct.
You need that human intervention.
Discretion.
Yeah, because only compassion can be brought in by a human being. So you need compassionate people to regulate this. But at the same time, you can't be so compassionate that your decision gets clouded. For example, if you are traveling and your car is at a junction and you find a beggar asking for money with a small child and all that, you feel pity and you give money out of compassion. But in reality, you might be funding a mafia that is running a huge business using this child and this beggar also as a virtual slave. You don't know. Trafficking is a major issue nowadays.
True.
So you don't know whether your compassion is right. So this compassion also needs to be regulated. That is where the contextual right and wrong comes in, which can be provided by Dharma, which is a larger concept. So Dharma is what should be defining our activities, your decision making, virtually everything. That you get clarity on Dharma only if you meditate, if you think. If you are in a turbulent state, you cannot identify your Dharma, and you have to identify your Swadharma, your own Dharma.
And there's no Dharma manual available.
No manual available. It's contextual. Yeah. It has to appear before you with clarity. It's not that easy as well. But that is the gift that India has given to the world, the concept of Dharma, which I think is still underrated. Probably with research happening on AI and ethics, ultimately I think things will come around and finally we will say, okay, we need Dharma. That is the solution.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And how rightly you put it that how do we get to it? How do we have access to Dharma? And one of the ways is meditation.
Yes.
And then and for each individual, the Dharma is you have a different relationship with Dharma, right?
Yeah. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It's a very individual thing. You have to realize your own Dharma. The Bhagavad Gita says you do your Swadharma, your own Dharma. It doesn't matter if you do somebody else's Dharma even to the best of your ability. It's of no consequences. Paradharma doesn't make you, it doesn't take you anywhere. So if you are to do Dharma, it should be your Swadharma. You should identify your Dharma first of all. It's like, you have an organization and the accountant's job is to take care of accounts. He indulges in HR. He puts his nose into HR. It's not his Dharma, it's Paradharma. Or if he meditates, probably he'll realize that his Swadharma is actually HR. So he might shift to the HR. So there is something that is designed based on your vasanas, your inclinations, your aptitude, your upbringing, your genes. So you have to identify your own Dharma to tread along that path. That is the only thing that gives you Shreyas. That's the only thing that gives you prosperity and peace of mind. To realize that, you have to introspect. You have to have real mindfulness.
How beautiful. How beautifully. Thank you so much, Prasanth. It was so nice speaking to you. We just had a short time, short interaction, but I hope you keep coming back to Kanha. And I hope Heartfulness can be of service to the volunteers for Compassionate India. And thank you so much for doing us the honor of visiting and sharing your thoughts with us. Thank you.
Pleasure is entirely mine, and I think I've been really fortunate to come here and experience all this. And then there is a destiny to making me come here today, because for me, I mean, it's a very personal thing. Lots of things have opened up after coming here, and I am looking forward to making most use of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of KanaCast. Please stay tuned for more episodes in the future. Until then, from the entire KanaCast team, namaste and goodbye.